Hello. I'm gonna have a quick look at my third round game, which I played tonight, and I had the black pieces against B.Hjartarson with an international rating of 2164, and the opening we played was the modern defense. I think I mentioned in the other video I played them once before in a tournament game, and I had fond memories from that game because it was a last round game and I had to win with the white pieces to secure my first IM norm, and I managed to do that, so fond memories from that game. However, I was playing the black pieces tonight, and I've been sort of doing okay with this modern defense against lower rated players, but however against players, I mean, close to or above my strength, then not doing as well. But I've been scoring okay with it. I feel like sort of get to keep the pieces on and allow my opponent to make some kind of strategic mistake. Sometimes the wrong exchange, sometimes the wrong pawn structure. And he played f4, and this is only the second time that I had to face this move. For some reason I more or less only play this in tournament games, not that many blitz games or practice games with it. Mostly people go bishop e3 here and sort of play the hippo setup then. But it's not so easy to play against this. Maybe I can play e6 right away, followed by knight e7, and then some sort of hippo setup. I kind of have to look at it a little better. But yeah, like I said in the first video, I haven't really been doing anything for close to 3 months since I finished the games that I played, 30 or so games. So I'm a little bit rusty in all my openings. So f4 a6, this is what's on you, and knight f3. This is all according to the book Tiger's Modern by B.Hjartarson from Sweden, a Swedish grandmaster. And here b5 is supposed to be more accurate. I played knight d7, but then a4 is supposed to be an accurate move. However, he played bishop e2. I hadn't seen this move before. On the rare occasions that I had to play against this in blitz games, or the one tournament game that I played, I had to face bishop d3. And sort of good players play bishop d3 and an early e5. Something like this: bishop goes to d3, b5, and a quick e5. And sometimes bishop e3, and usually they put the bishop on e4, something like this. This is analyzed in the book, and I think white can get a better position, but black should be okay in most lines, but it's a little bit difficult. Anyway, so I was happy to see this bishop e2 move. I kind of thought it was kind of a meek move, and also the next move a3. So after these meek moves, perhaps I started to underestimate my opponent a little bit. Bishop b7, castles, and right about here I wasn't quite alert enough to play a move that I really didn't like. I was thinking about getting in c5. It seems like a logical thing to do, but I didn't like d5. Now I can't play e5 because I can't play knight f6 and knight g to f6 because of e5. But now I looked at some games in the database, and there's one game where Sweetler had black and he just played queen c7, which should stop e5. After king h1, knight g f6. I think the position is is complicated. Actually, in the game, white sacrificed the pawn now with e5, but the game ended in a draw. The computer actually likes black position a little bit, not much, a tenth of a pawn or something, but this is how I should have played. But again, the thing about openings like the modern, I don't know, stuff like knight c6, Al Columpio, stuff like that. Thing is, you can kind of get these shaky positions where you make one mistake and you get punished for it, because basically this opening, the modern defense, we are violating several opening principles that we talked about in the first video, of course. Making too many pawn moves, not getting my king to safety, etc. So it takes very little to go wrong, and I think e6 might just be an inaccurate move here. I was intending 97, and I thought a normal position and I'll be fine, but after I made the move, then I kind of realized, okay, he could play f5, and the more I thought about it, the less I liked it. And he kept staring at that side of the board, and I was just hoping, play an automatic move, bishop e3 and something meek, knight e7, and I'm out of the woods, we can play the game. However, he found the move f5, which I think is a good move. Might even deserve an exclamation mark, because it's the best move, I think. And I didn't like this, and I think it's a good it's a good advice when you're playing against the higher rated player. The higher rated player will absolutely hate it when you attack him. I like to keep it clean, simple, and just wait for a strategic mistake, hopefully, or a tactical mistake. But nobody likes to be put under pressure, and he's certainly doing that with this move. And it's not clear what I should do here. I think e takes f5 is more or less forced. I can't play a move like knight e7 because e6 is too weak. After knight g5, then it's difficult to deal with this threat, this double threat here. So I have to take it, and pawn takes f5. I think white should be slightly better here, but I think I messed up a little bit now. Okay, taking the pawn actually looks ugly, but I did consider it, however, because you can't win it immediately, and maybe I can, if I can somehow get my king to safety on the queen side, it might be okay. But of course it's very dodgy. I didn't like it. But I do have something like the g-file and a good bishop here, but I think it's too much. The pawn structure is absolutely horrible, and if white manages to exchange these bishops, then black will simply be left with too much holes. Okay, I'm up a pawn, but this is bound to fall, and after a4, this square will be weak, this will be weak. This file is not convenient at the moment, so I really didn't like taking. I did consider it. I don't know why I didn't play knight g to f6. I think it might be okay. I just felt like it was a little. You can play knight g5, probably castle, and can take. And it's a little bit difficult to get the knight out of the way there. It's pretty well posted on g5. Can't kick it away with h6. And I think white should be comfortably slightly better here, and he doesn't have any of the usual weaknesses perhaps that might come with such a structure, like a pawn on d5 or something. So I might be okay here. I'm not saying that. I'm not getting mated or anything. Don't have any huge weaknesses, but I sort of like good counterplay, and of course I wanted to win this game. So already kind of a troublesome position, and when you get a position like this, you start to appreciate solid openings, and I think it's really a healthy approach that Qatar is taking to learn e4, e5 with the black pieces. Just get a solid position. I think I should do more of that. Just I don't know why I didn't play the French. If I could play this game again, I would play the French, or even e4, e5. But I need to study it a little more. Anyway, knight e7 is probably the best move. Only thing that seems to be making any problems here is bishop g5, but I think I can just castle safely, and I should be okay. It's similar to the position we looked at before, but somehow slightly more options with the knights. But okay, it's similar. I think this one is still slightly better white, but I don't know. We have a whole chess game ahead of us, but I did play knight h6, and that's probably inaccurate. Might even be a question mark. He played bishop g5, which I think is the best move, and I'm in a little bit of a pickle. I thought kind of dismissed bishop g5 because I thought f6. If he takes on h6, I get the bishop pair, and if he retreats, I take on f5, win a pawn. But it's not that easy. If I try something like this with the intention of castling, maybe the queen can come to a7 to put pressure on d4. Basically getting out of the way, not giving white any pins or anything. And he has this move. If I take, gives me a check, and I can't interpose anything on the e-file. It's pretty disgusting. And after this, he first takes here, and then on d7, and white is up a pawn. And even though black has the bishop pair, black has huge coordination problems. b5 is hanging, and it's not pretty. f7 is weak, e-file is weak. Big advantage to white. So I can't do that, and I quickly dismissed this. It just looks too loose to me, so I just kind of intuitively rejected this. Just looks wrong. It's hard to explain. I mean, this is pinned. Knight on f6 is pinned. Knight on h6 looks funny. I think something like this should give white pretty big advantage. So I went with f6, and I have to give him credit. He kept finding moves, and even moves that surprised me. I thought he would play bishop d3 here. I thought that was the automatic move. I thought I might escape with castling here, and if he takes the pawn, I thought this pawn sacrifice would give me a decent enough play, you know, and I would be able to outplay him somehow. Usually, I mean, I'm not worried about being a pawn down here. I have the bishop pair, open files for both for my rooks, and diagonals for my bishops. It should be okay here, but computer would probably win with white. But I'm not playing a computer. But he won knight h4, which looks like a much stronger move. And right here, I just couldn't come up with satisfactory way to continue the game. Knight f8 or king f7, it just looks horrible. So I'm looking at this for the first time. Knight f8, it just looks horrible. Something like this, threatening bishop takes b5. I have to put the king here, and he just gets such easy play and good pressure on my king side. Something like this, maybe. It just looks fairly ugly to me. I think this is much better for white, but maybe it's better than what it did in the game. King f7 comes into consideration, but sacking the piece here is interesting, but he doesn't have to do it. I mean, he can do something like queen d3, and it should be good for white. But maybe this is the way I should play. At least I keep the material equal, and after he takes on g6, at least I'm opening up some opportunities for me as well in the h file. So maybe he has to be accurate here. Queen d3 is probably the only move to give him problems. The sacrifice is interesting. I looked at it during the game, but couldn't come to a conclusion. But maybe he could just play positionally. I have to go here. You can just play like this. Okay. The computer is quick to refute it. I have this one. I missed that during the game. And then just take on h5, and I should survive. But if I don't have it, then I might be in a pickle. I don't know. Okay, this sack is probably insufficient. So queen d3, and let's go back. Queen d3, I know it should be better, but definitely okay. I should have played passive here with king f7 or knight f8. I couldn't find a move. I went with bishop e3 for some reason. I felt like it was okay to have the bishop there. Should have played queen e7 first. No, I played queen e7. But I was hoping he would take on g6. I was pinning my hopes on something like this. Actually, white is still much better here, but I do have some chances if he passes out with a move like this. Then all of a sudden I'm the one winning, threatening mate on h2, and you can't avoid it. It's a still mate. So I was really hoping for this, but that didn't happen. And if he tries to, of course he can't take the rook because it's checkmate, and I would of course take with the bishop. That's prettier. And if he tries to hang on, bishop h5. Okay, I'm down a pawn, but you know I'm still fighting. Still can't take the rook, and you know I have some chances here. But to my eternal disgust, he found the best move here, bishop f3, a great move. And just closing down the diagonal for the bishop, which was my most dangerous piece in this line where he took on g6. And I couldn't see anything better than c6 here, closing the diagonal. If I take, it's ugly. The rook is hanging, so I could defend it by castling, but hello, that's a pin. Sorry, a fork actually. So c6 and you know queen d3. Now the problem, of course, is that I'm being threatened with bad things here on the e file. Bad lineup of pieces here. I castle, try to hang on, but now he plays g3. Probably the best way to win for him was f takes g6 here, the fastest way. And I don't have anything here. I mean, could try something like this, but Just takes, take on g6, king f2. And when we wake up and count the pieces, I'm a rook down. So f takes g6. I mean, this bishop is falling. Nothing good happening from here. So he played g3. That's probably an okay move. He wants to put the knight on g2 and not have any problems. Possibly after knight d1. I might have queen f7. And the point is that if he takes on e3 with whatever, I play g5 and I at least win a piece back. Although my position is not looking good, he can play knight g6. And okay, I do have this move, but you know, it's not pretty. Well, I'll go maybe bishop h5. Doesn't really matter. It's ugly. Ugly no matter what we do here. He's up a pawn which he can keep, and you know the white squares are weak. Not looking pretty. So knight d1 was a possibility. This move here. But he played g3, which is fine as well. Okay, and about here we were starting to get into some time trouble. My time was worse throughout the game. No, actually, I had I was up on the clock in the beginning, but around after his knight h4 move, I went from a 15-minute time advantage to about 20 minutes down on the clock. I thought for like over half an hour. Couldn't find a solution. But he was catching up a little bit, but not any huge time trouble. So my only chance was to try to confuse him a little bit. So I think I'm playing more or less only moves here to confuse him. g5, the knight retreats, and now g4. And of course, I mean, he could just take the queen. I have nothing better than getting a rook and a piece for a queen and a pawn, and that's just not enough. But I was hoping I could make something happen in this line in time trouble, but of course it's just losing, completely losing. But okay, g4, he didn't bite. I mean, you should just take on e3. It's easy. But bishop d1, he thought no problems anyway. c5 only moves again, pinning the knight so that he can't take on e3. But he just closes the diagonal. And again, I tried to find the only moves to fight. And when your position is this crappy, basically all you can do is hope for the best, try to spring up some traps along the way or something. Who knows, if you give your opponent 10 traps, he only has to fall for one. So we tried several, but he's avoided most of them. Rook takes e3. Again, I think there are better ways to win here. A takes b4 probably, but this might be just fine. Knight e5. He has to give up the rook for 2 pieces here, but it's still completely winning. He takes on b4, and I probably can't retake, which I did. He played queen c4, but rook e1 is probably winning as well. Completely winning. My queen has no squares here in the middle of the board. Pretty surprising. And okay, I have to give up the queen for something. And I mean, this is completely losing. He takes with check, and I'm just slowly suffering. King here, and you know, basically whatever. Knight f4, probably a good move. He's up a piece. And the pawn. I might pick up one pawn, but he can pick up the g4 pawn and f6 or d6 probably whenever he pleases. So this is losing. So since we had some time trouble, if he had gone for this line, I was gonna take on b2, hope for the best. The thing is though, the line that I was hoping for, queen b3. Of course you can play queen c3 and just take the pawn on b2, but I was hoping for this. And then I had this. And this was my big trap. If he takes, then I checkmate him. But the problem is he can just take on d5. And even if I get to make a new queen, you'll just check here with several tempos and just pick up basically more or less all my pawns. And he has 2 pieces of a rook, and this is winning for white. So no matter what I do, it's not looking good. So queen c4 check takes, and queen takes b4. And I thought I was escaping into a fighting chance when he gave me the rook for the 2 pieces. But it's still absolutely horrible. h5, try to hold on to the g4 pawn, and maybe hoping for some kind of a swindle and time trouble with h4, and h takes g3. But he just gets an easy attack here, bishop e2. He's threatening bishop takes a6, and there's really nothing to do here. And I felt the hammer was coming now. Rook a1. And it's just absolutely horrible. Nothing that can be done. Okay, I was short on time. I tried queen takes f5, and I don't know. I pick up a pawn, and the queen might come to the defense, but it's just too late. One win is bishop takes a6, and if I take back, then knight b5. Nothing to be done. Knight takes d6 with discover check next, and my queen falls. So he missed that. He also missed knight b5 check, and it's just over. King a8. I mean, if I go to b8, it takes on d6 with check. Here we have a check, and then another check here. It's checkmate soon. If I go to d7, then queen c7 is mate. But he chose another move, queen takes d6, and still completely winning. My flag was about to fold, so I just tried something. Rook takes e2, and here he thought about 5 minutes. So it's basically made in 5 here, and I thought he was just torturing me. He was gonna, wait a little bit and play the move, but he thought for 5 minutes. So I thought, I mean, what's he thinking about? So I thought, please take on e2. At least I have some, chances of a swindle. Although it's completely the same, not just on a piece. But he played knight d5, and I was ready to resign after rook takes a6, because that's made in 4 moves. He didn't see that, so he went knight c7 check. But I still thought, I mean, is he just teasing me? Is he gonna check and then go back to b5 and then give the mate? No, king a7, knight takes a6. Okay, he had another win in mind. Queen c5 is better actually, and this is just over. But okay, knight takes a6, and yeah, okay, it's basically over now. Rook e1 is the only move that doesn't lose immediately, and yeah, just rook takes e1. I could try something. I mean, something like this. Bishop takes. But king g1. I have nothing. I'm done a piece and the pawn, and just no counterplay. Stops me coming to the second rank. And bishop takes d5 and knight c5. It's made in a few moves. Yeah, but he didn't take with the rook. He thought, okay, just knight takes e1 and then move the knight and give a mate. But fortunately for me, I am the one giving the checkmate. So here we have it. Probably one of my biggest swindle ever. I just couldn't believe it when he took with the knight. And like, it's like everything, all the adrenaline went to my brain, and I moved immediately, mate. And I just couldn't believe it. I took the win when I could immediately. And I haven't felt this strange after the game in a while. That's pretty disgusting right there. And I mean, he had some time trouble, but it wasn't really a fatal time trouble. He was just completely blocked from this mate on F1. Fortunately for me, so I escaped there. Not only did I escape, but they also have they have prizes for the best game in the first 3 rounds, and this would definitely have been it. I mean, he totally slaughtered me, but I was lucky, really lucky to escape. And like I said many times before, I'll take the win. So okay, I'm on 3 out of 3, and the 4th round is Sunday, and now I'll start to play somebody really good. But I have the white pieces, so I like it. Like my chances. So I hope you enjoyed this little surprising win for me, and we'll see if I have time for the videos later. Anyway, see you later. Bye bye.